I'm Darren McBride, one of the project engineers at Highly Reliable Systems. We make backup products that have a removable hard drive component to them. The removable hard drive is an important element that allows you to back up using any backup software to protect your company's data and transport it off-site. Today I'd like to talk about a new product called the RAIDFrame Plus. This is a network-attached storage device that's been purpose-built for backup. It incorporates 4 storage modules called RAIDPacs that allow you to actually pull the storage module itself that you've stored your data on. The RAIDPacs contain 3 individual SATA hard drives and a RAID 5 controller. So when you pull this pack, you're actually pulling an entire RAID 5 array. The RAID 5 array can actually be accessed in the field by plugging in a Molex power connector and either USB 3 or SATA. This way, you can think of this as the world's largest removable hard drive. You don't need the RAIDFrame to gain access to your data. RAIDPacs can be configured in RAID 5 mode or in RAID 0 mode. In RAID 0 mode, all 3 of the drives aggregate together. So if you're using 4 terabyte drives, you can get a 12 terabyte capacity out of it. Most customers will use RAID 5 for the protection and will end up at a maximum capacity of 8 terabytes. Of course, if you use smaller drives, the capacities are measurably smaller. Now, the RAIDPacs in this device can actually mirror one another. So this left-hand drive can mirror all of its data to the right-hand drive. And the intention of that functionality is that if you use backup software that's not aware that you're using removable drives, the left-hand drive stays in place at all times. So that backup software never sees this drive go away. Your backup jobs are able to run on a consistent basis on whatever schedule you set them for. And we, in the background, mirror all that data to the right-hand drive that you can pull on your own schedule and transport off-site. So for example, if you came in at 5 o'clock one night and pulled this RAIDPac, you could transport it off-site, put a brand new RAIDPac in place. What would happen is you'd see the lights indicate, they'd start blinking, indicating that remirroring is occurring. By the time you walked in, typically at 8 a.m. the next morning, depending on the amount of data that you have, it usually will finish. You'll see these blue lights on solid, which tells you at a glance that the mirroring is complete. What you've just achieved is a snapshot, a point-in-time copy of your backup that your backup software is not even aware of. This allows you to create archive copies and use backup software that would normally not work well with removable devices. Now, if you don't want to use mirroring in the RAIDFrame, you don't have to. You can set up each of the RAIDPacs as individual storage modules so that if, for example, you want to send server 1 to the first one, server 2 to the second one, server 3 to the next one, you can use it that way. Or Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, do points in time into your RAIDPacs. It's really flexible. Use it with the backup software any way you want. The RAIDFrame is designed with a removable 2.5-inch boot device in the front. The idea here is that if there's ever a problem with a boot device, we send you a new one, and without needing a monitor or reconfiguring or restoring the device, it'll boot up and work the way it's intended to. The RAIDFrame backs up data at approximately 300 gigabytes an hour, depending on, of course, what backup software you're using. This allows you to move large amounts of data much quicker than you could send the data to the cloud. RAIDPacs can then be used as a seed for your cloud backup scheme so that you can incorporate both, or you can use it as a standalone device. The RAIDFrame connectivity is via gigabit Ethernet. You put an IP address on it or use DHCP so that it can connect to your network. And everything's designed to be as easy as possible. Let's spend a couple moments looking at the interface of the RAIDFrame Plus, including how you set up the IP addresses, the mirroring, and some of the other features that are available to you. The way you get to it is just to open any standard browser. I'm going to open Firefox. And you have to know the IP address of the RAIDFrame Plus. In this case, we've got it on 10.1.1.201. Our standard username and password is hradmin and password. And so I'm going to get in with the factory defaults. So I can do this from any machine on my network, and this provides me with the interface to the RAIDFrame Plus, which is just a HTML menu. You'll notice that I've changed the host name of my machine to Snickers, and that currently it's plugged in 100 megabits per second. This is important because you want it to be 1,000 megabits a second if you're plugged into a gigabit switch. That's going to give you better speeds. You'll notice that in this particular RAIDFrame Plus, we only have one Ethernet card. The second Ethernet card, which is an option, is currently not connected. So all the basic information about IP addresses are there. Earlier we were looking at the 4 bays. There are 4 RAIDPacs installed. You see that they are labeled bay 1, 2, 3, and 4. Software gives you an interface where you can see the friendly disk name of each RAIDPac. I can pull out RAIDPac disk 1 and put in disk 2 in slot 1. It's very flexible. At the moment, you'll see that we have disk 1 and disk 2 set up as a mirror. The RAIDPacs themselves are populated with 4 terabyte drives, but they're set in RAID 5 mode, so we lose the capacity of one of the drives, and it ends up being 8 terabytes. So disk 1 and disk 2 are mirrored to one another. If I were to pull out disk 2 and insert a blank new RAIDPac or any RAIDPac, it would go ahead and resynchronize and start the synchronization process. And we can see down here that it's active, but it's not shared. Once we share this, if I come down and just go to Snickers as if it were any Windows machine, you'll see that currently I shared up disk 3 and disk 4. Those are actual RAIDPacs. I could have called them RAIDPac 3 and RAIDPac 4 to avoid confusion. And I put a few files on RAIDPac 3. So we access this just like we would any network device. That's the basics of the RAIDFrame interface. There's more to see as far as setting up Windows networking and some of the more complex features, but it's really pretty simple, and that gives you an idea of how we set this thing up. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video on the RAIDFrame Plus. If you'd like to learn more, visit our website at www.hi-rely.com or give us a call and we'll be happy to answer any of your questions.